What if I told you there is a whole new way that you could be coming up with designs and concepts for your clients, for whatever job you're working at? As graphic designers, we might be under the wire, struggling to find new concepts every time we're working on a new project. And I'm always trying to find new ways to kind of figure that out. So I present to you this cool little presentation all about AI-powered packaging design. I'm Nick Longo from Longo Designs here in Los Angeles. I'm also an educator. I'm a professor at Cal State University Northridge here as well. Not only am I looking for unique ways to help myself and my business that I run, but what I can teach to our students and kind of get the next generation ready for our industry. I'm going to show you how I've used artificial intelligence and certain AI programs to help me communicate my brand vision more clearly to a client before launching into full-blown concepts that we're presenting at our first stage. I think this is a really cool and unique time to talk about it because I want to make sure that we debunk a lot of the things that we think of when we think of AI joining in our industry. So let's get started. First off, truly, have no fear here. Potential benefits of early AI adoption are just amazing. You could be the first in the industry just trying it, seeing how it works. And I want to show a few benefits of what it could actually do when it comes to us being early adopters in our business. One, it will increase obviously your efficiency and your productivity, such as resizing and kind of reconfiguring the layouts, coming up with new color palettes very quickly, just giving you blue sky ideation right from the very beginning when it might be one of those days you're in a creative rut. Don't be fooled. Everything I'm going to be showing you is based off of a creative brief that myself and maybe a client have already approved. This can also help you meet tight deadlines, getting things done quicker and faster, especially if you're dealing with a lot of volume at work. I'm a one-man show here, so I'm looking for anything else I can do to not only speed up things, but to communicate better with my clients. And let's face it, have an end product that's much more successful than anything else I could have done. We're going to enhance all of our design capabilities as well. We're helping to fine tune and optimize. We're showing things at a kind of more elevated stage at a certain point so the client truly understands things before we're doing things. And again, it's all built on our creative brief. We're improving collaborations. This to me has been proven to show that I'm working closer and more tightly with my clients to make sure and ensure that we are doing something really in mind, and it's keeping all of our discovery and everything that we've created for our brand strategy into our packaging concepts. I love this idea because sometimes if you're much more of a siloed working person, this is another great way to incorporate a little bit more collaboration. Plus, as an early adopter, don't forget, this is like a competitive advantage. I totally get it, and a lot of people might be fearful of looking into it right now, but I'm a big fan of finding what's new. And the least I can do is just dive into something and see, does it have some benefit? Can it help me in the long run? These new technologies, think about it, we're picking them up every day. Everything you look at that you've done in the last few years of your business, I'm sure involves some kind of new technology. So wouldn't it be great to just give this a chance and see what it can do to help improve your business? So, want to stick to a few facts here. There are some common misconceptions that happen to be considered or related to AI. The first thing that a lot of people think of is it can fully replace human creativity. It's not fully replaceable, and it can't replicate the unique perspective that we bring and the intuition that we have as humans. So don't forget, it can't bring that exactly to the table. AI is considered this magic bullet that can solve all creative problems. AI is only as good as the data that is entered by the trained person. It also obviously works on the algorithms, but it's used to process that data, but it has to come, it has to be planted from a seed from us based on everything that we've designed and we've come up with as designers. And lastly, AI has been considered basically a threat to our job security in the future. I just want to reiterate a few things that I found that I thought were interesting to kind of debunk this misconception. It can create a lot of new opportunities for us to enable more of a focus on the entire complexity of the project. If you think of all the value you will add by adding this to your process, I think that's the opportunities that I would love to kind of explore that can further my development with clients or new clients for that matter. So what I like to think about it is it's just another tool that I'm adding to my arsenal as a design studio. Also, consider that money talks. I mean, our job is to help our clients sell more, to connect more, and to increase the bottom line. So, how does effective packaging do that? Well, there's those key pillars that packaging design must do. We've got to attract attention, and this comes from visually appealing, standout designs that hit that shelf and help the consumer understand and communicate better. And I think a lot of that time is something new, something refreshing, something not based off of a competitor. And if you're doing brand boards and mood boards the same way you did in the past, well, I'm going to show you how you can actually advance and elevate those like you've never seen before. We want to communicate the brand identity better. We want to show the values. We want to show the positioning, everything we learned in discovery that's going to help differentiate our product from the competitors. How better to do it, but with packaging design and things that stand out. Also, packaging that is well designed and feels high quality can increase the perceived value. That's a great way it can stand out and help that understanding of the consumer and the willingness to maybe pay a more premium price. It can convey the product information better. We all know how important hierarchy and making sure the proper information is on all of our packaging to ensure that the consumer is getting what they're looking for. Because at the end of the day, consider this, if we are not increasing the sales of our clients' products, we're not doing our job. That's 90% of what we are hired to do. It's the value we can bring. So the overall problem I was having, and I'm going to be really vulnerable with some of the stuff that we've got here. The traditional mood board and the things that I put together for those clients at the very beginning before we're actually doing any kind of concepts just are no longer working for me. You know, you usually go and you search on Dribbble or Behance or Pinterest and you start looking for those keywords that are right from your discovery, and you hope you'll find that perfect example of the kind of design that you're trying to show for this project. You know, we have it in our mind, but the client doesn't. This is such a vital stage of any print design and packaging design because you want to narrow it down to a specific style and only concentrate and truly focus on that idea. So let's get into a little bit about what we typically do. Here's a few examples. We all know the typical mood board that might be put together to show off the client. And this one here on the top is the traditional route. Some of the things I've been doing down here is I've been elevating my things, and I like to call them more like a brand board. This is where I overlap and bring in more kinds of textures and things. I try to refrain from the square grid format. I felt like this was kind of helping the client understand a little bit more about this vision that I had in my mind. Now, it worked a little bit, but I found over time in the last year, it still was a little bit unclear. They'd look at this and go, I don't get it. So like, would that woman be here and then that pattern would always be over it? It's a little too specific, but yet it's not packaging. It's not a bag or the model or the box that they've decided on. This just wasn't working out for me. Even though I had made an elevated version of it, it still was not communicating as well as I was hoping with my clients. So why was that not working? Well, look at it this way. When you dive into those things, it's the same old stuff. The trends rise to the top. Everywhere we go, if we have a very small amount of time to start looking for reference and materials to use in our mood boards, I think we tend to find the same old stuff. It just happens every time. It's also wasted time. It takes so much longer to find really good inspiration. To stay on time with this, most of the time, to be honest with you, I was just finding okay images that I thought were kind of a good match. Next was the expectations. Clients often found that this one image or this one thing on there was something that they really got attached to in the mood board. And this allowed for the client to dictate a little bit more of the direction based on maybe their personal preference, not the brand direction that we had agreed upon. So my expectations were always a little bit falling short. There's also the interpretation of that. Many times the client didn't understand certain things that were on that mood board. They were like, I don't understand. Is this found images? Is this something you're going to design for me? So it needed a lot of hand-holding at that time. And I was just finding that this repetitive thing was telling me there was a way to maybe improve this. And also, to be honest with you, there were many times where I just wasn't taking that incredible big risk. I felt too much comfort in that comfort zone. I would push the same design kind of aesthetics, the same typography, and I wasn't pushing the boundaries and truly letting the discovery of this project and the brief work its magic, especially when I was juggling a lot of different projects at the same time. I also was limited to what I can find online, right? Because you're putting some mood boards together and you're looking around. So there are some limitations to just being only stuff that were found images on there. So what is the solution? Here's where we're going to go. The AI to the rescue time. I found that this is one of the greatest ways to kind of like solve that problem and work with it. So you're going to go right to your brief. You're going to gather all of the words and make up your brand, right? You probably have this already. Hopefully you're doing good discovery and a creative brief before you're doing any kind of designs. So get granular, be specific, use powerful adjectives and things like that that will describe your brand. These become the prompts. You've probably heard of prompts. Prompts are what basically power anything that is AI driven. So the better the prompts, the better the result. So the tool I'm using is a little company called Midjourney. You've probably heard of them. You can dive deeper into them as well. I hope to put a few links together for this that you can kind of get some ideas here. And I have a great book that I'll recommend as well, be in the links to this, to help you along that journey. No pun intended. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take the brief, get the prompts. And this is what I'm putting together for the first prompt of AI that I wanna show you guys. I put in this, create a food packaging box, traditional, culinary inspired, wholesome, authentic, warm, old world, handmade elements, vibrant, expressive, adventurous, Italian hand lettering. These were things that came right from our brief. I added a few more things for texture and for color. But what this did was when I put it into Midjourney, I was basically putting together this first AI generated thing. So you put those in there, and what we want to do is we're going to build a packaging mock-up to show the client and get their kind of, how do they feel on this? Is this do we bring it to life? And it's an actual conceptual piece that we can show them, not somebody else's art. This was the first piece that basically came out. Take a look at that. Beautiful. Based on our prompts, right? Everything we wanted to see. So here you've got 4 options that it came up with. This would have taken me hours to do in any way, even in a mood board, but to come up with something in about a minute and a half and produce 4 totally different pieces. Notice great colors, beautiful settings. I love the ideas that they put on this front panel. The idea of hierarchy being super, super clear on this as well. It's considering all of those things because it is building packaging designs. But take a look at some of these things. Here's where you can take 1 or 2 or even all 4 of them and say, hey, I'd love to see that one bigger. Or you can even say, show me one and give me 4 versions of it. Here, it took one of those concepts and I basically said, give me 4 different varieties of it. At first glance, you might think these are all the same, but take a close look and you'll see that they kind of do different arrangements and different kind of setups and different hierarchies. And I love this idea. They might look the same, but it's giving you some really good idea of 1, how your idea is going to work, and 2, a variety of different options to start building if you were to take this one to the next level. You can also say, here's that other one. Show me that other one and give me 4 versions of that. Look at this setup. It's really impressive to see it the first time. It's also a little intimidating because I'm like, that's insane. How'd you do that so fast based off of these prompts? But again, it's an incredible tool to take you to the next level. Here, I basically said, give me 4 new ones. That looks great. Take the same prompts and give me 4 new ideas. Unbelievable attention to detail. Love that it even creates settings, backgrounds. This is all done by the AI. Love that idea. Let's go to number 2. So I wanted to do something totally different than the food line there. And I basically said, let's create these prompts. We said, create a dog food packaging bag, trustworthy, friendly, organic, explorer vibes, slightly rustic elements, vibrant, expressive, adventurous, modern, and minimalist. It's like putting all the perfect words into a little machine and seeing like, what is it going to come up with? Look at this. 4 beautiful designs, some in settings, some in like studio, but you can note that even when I said adventurous, it did some really cool things. It put little like rocky mountains up here. It definitely threw in a little bit more here where this one dog is kind of out in the wilderness. And you can see it did this incredible job of giving 4 different ideas right from the beginning. Even if I just looked at those to say, wow, look at just the structure and the layout and the ratio between trade dress and the main name and where it is. It's giving me fresh new ideas to kind of start considering for my first ones. I could take one of them again and say, show me 4 different options of it. Looks beautiful. This one's even showing me backsides, and it knows the difference. It keeps a cohesive brand look, but totally different designs. Unbelievable. I can also do just like the first one and say, give me four totally new ones, and it will do the same thing. Love this idea. My creative juices start going, and I'm already imagining what this is going to look like. This is taking it to like a whole new level. So imagine you've done this and you've got these incredible new concepts to show. This is what you can show instead of that mood board. You could put something like this together and say like, talk to the client, introduce these and show them. I always number them so if we're doing this via Zoom or live, they can kind of have some reference to what we're looking at. And to me, because it does these things in kind of generic text and it doesn't put anything specifically written there to read, it's kind of like Greeking. I love this because they can really concentrate on the art and the design. And if they really gravitate to number 8 there, I know we're in the wheelhouse. I know all I got to do now is kind of concentrate in that vibe. They have an expectation that's 10 times better than any mood board. The benefits of this stuff, incredible customization. You just saw how that worked. Speed, those were done in less than 10 minutes. Cost effectiveness, a monthly charge to a service that I'm using. And the consistency, imagine being able to do this time and time again with your existing clients and new clients. This is an incredible tool that I think we should all be thinking about and seeing how we can put into our thing. And I want to show you one other way that you can do this for your business and all of your packaging needs. How many times have you been here? This is me. I'm not a photographer. Actually, that's not me, but that's me many times trying to set up photography and do it either with my good camera or my iPhone or outside somewhere, or even hiring a photographer for that matter, for that one shot that we probably just need for social media or their website, or let's face it, your website as well. You want to show these things off great. You want to show the potential new client that you've got incredible work to show. How many times have you been here trying to make that perfect thing and setting up props and buying things and going to Whole Foods and getting 8 oranges and cutting them in half for your new juice product? I've done it a million times. Were the results good? Not really, but it was for that time something great, and I love offering this new thing to a client that's not expecting it from me as the brand designer. So how do we take those hero shots or anything we're doing to the next level? We're going to look at product photography in general, social media, that obviously everybody needs a kind of leg up in that stage, and your portfolio as well. Remember, we mentioned you're going to use these images as well, so why not make them incredible? Here's what I did. For example, I used this latest design that we did here for 14 cannons. This is called the Lost at Sea. It's a limited edition 5-year anniversary can. We did some incredible work, got this done. It's printed, looks beautiful, but you know, now it's time to take it into social media. It's time to show it off, and it's time to sell it. It's time to get people in and line up to go buy it. So typically, my social media kind of, practice is to kind of find some stock images, put the glass or the bottles or the cans in front of it, and come up with a theme and do something neat. But this is kind of like a dime a dozen, and I feel like it's being used a lot. And I'm always trying to think of, gosh, if I could just had some tool or method to basically elevate these to a whole new level. Here's the way to do it. It's with AI. So here's what we're going to do. AI comes to the rescue again to create incredible backgrounds and sceneries to basically build better visuals and photography of your products. So what I did was I built some words. Remember the prompts that we did. Here I changed them up a little bit. We had some idea of what described the design and the brand when we did the print of the design, but I added in a few other things. We talked about rustic wood, natural vibes, old world style, authentic pirate aesthetics, whatever that is, exploration, and Victorian. So those were the words, and then I added beer can in the middle of it because I wanted it to be in the scene, and then that way I can replace it with my art. So here's what it did. Mid-Journey results. It put together this beautiful image. Look at the dramatic lighting, the skull. It brought things in there, right? You can retool this. You can kind of go back and say more this, less that. That's just the first thing I did. It did it in about 45 seconds. So I have this incredible PNG that I basically take. And the first thing I did was I use Adobe Dimension a lot. I love that for everything I do as far as 3D models for most of the packaging I do. So I brought that in as a background into Adobe Dimension. You could see it's all there. It has everything that we just did. It's just an imported JPEG or PNG into the background. Next, my 3D model. I placed it right in that center. I basically covered the can that was already there, and the can is there to help me understand the camera angle and the perspective. So basically, I moved the camera angle to make sure that that can was perfect for that. Dimension also has a setting that you can say match perspective, but you can try it by eye as well. Then you can match the lighting. What it did is it looked at the background image, it kind of saw where the light source is, and it basically put lighting on my 3D model to match the Mid-Journey background. Incredible. This turned out to be an incredible piece, and I did this completely on my own, showed it to the client, and they freaked out, and they had it right on their Instagram immediately. This took their Instagram, our whole connection and everything, to the next level. It's just unbelievable the results you can get. Here's another one I did for another company called Charmly. It is an incredible adaptogenic drink, and I basically did a prompt for a kitchen with morning light coming through a window, added the can, did the same process on Adobe Dimension, looks unbelievable. And here's another one where I even searched for magician theme background, and I put in all the same things, wooden desk, magician props, dramatic lighting. You get better and better with these prompts every time you use them. All I did, same idea. Those bags are all 3D models in Adobe Dimension. I placed them perfectly in there. I matched the camera, matched the lighting, and I put together this incredible piece. So my conclusion, guys, if it can save you time, if it can prove efficiency and generate incredible, more unique concepts that truly communicate to your client a much better idea of what you have in mind for them, why wouldn't you try it? Approach this AI with a very positive and open-minded attitude. Why not? It's there, it's coming, it's on its way. It's worth a shot to kind of dive in and see if it's something for you. Dive into it with a sense of curiosity. That's exactly what I did. I wanted to consider it a new tool to help me in the process, and it really has shown an incredible advantage already in just a week's time. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I would love to hear your comments. This is a very kind of new topic in our industry, so truly shoot me a note. I'd love to know if this was good, if this is scary, whatever it might be. Even if you have a question about how to get into it. I'm at Longo Designs on Instagram, Longo Designs Inc. on Twitter, and Nick Longo on LinkedIn. That's one of my favorite ways to kind of connect with y'all, and longodesigns.com is my website. So please reach out to me. Look for the notes that I have in this presentation down below. They're going to have a great link to an incredible ebook that a friend of mine put together that will help you take this entire Mid-Journey all on your own. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good luck with everything, and we'll talk to you soon.